Today's scripture is 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 8 and 9, which say, "For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble, which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God, which raised the dead." Paul is writing these words through the midst of his missionary journeys and simply explaining how difficult things became for them at various points throughout their ministry. He says, "I would not have you to be ignorant or unlearned about all the troubles that we've had." And he mentions that things got so difficult for them that they were in despair even of life, he says. Basically, it meant that it was so difficult that they thought about just giving up living. But then he explains the purpose in which this came into his life. Verse 9 says that he had the sentence of death in himself, not so that he could trust in himself, but so that he could trust in God. He says this in verse 9 again, "We had the sentence of death in ourselves." And here's the reason why, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God that raised the dead. He's basically saying that they came to the point even of death, but that came to them so that they would not trust in themselves, but rather that they would turn to God and put their trust in Him. Oftentimes we go through difficult things in our lives for that very reason, so that we will get away from trying to solve problems ourselves, trying to trust in ourselves through a situation, and get ourselves to yield that authority over to God and trust Him with the outcome as we do things God's way. That's the true point of this passage, and that is something that our society desperately needs to get a hold of in this day and time. I pray this has helped you today in some way. I'm Pastor John, creating community by sharing Scripture. God bless.
Go tell the world.